I'm back. I took a little hiatus from the podcast. It was not planned, but it turned out to be absolutely necessary. And I want to come on and talk about that because it alludes to a bigger issue that I was experiencing, not necessarily with the podcast, but with some feelings of burnout that I was experiencing and overall loss of luster for what it is that I'm doing, some comparison, some just loss of energy and excitement. I had fallen into a bit of a lull, if that's even how I should describe it. Just that entrepreneurship is going to have its waves, and I found myself in a low part of that wave equation, and it really forced me to slow down a bit and to reassess. So I wanted to come on and have an honest and open conversation about that. I was sure, like, I don't even have notes for this, which I have not done in a really long time, but I didn't want to overthink this and I didn't want to over contrive it. I just wanted it to be real because I know that I'm not alone in feeling how I was just feeling. And it was not fun. It honestly freaked me out a little bit because I was questioning a lot of things in my business and my career and also myself. I just felt like I really fell off my game. And now that we're a couple of weeks removed from that, I'm feeling like we're getting back into it again. But I've made a lot of changes, like a lot of changes. So we are going to discuss that as well. So if you have been feeling off of your game in your life and business, if you have been struggling with comparison, if you have been struggling with a lack of motivation, or you just want to hear a real conversation about what it really looks like to run a highly profitable business, and that it's all not sunshines and daisies, as if anybody ever doubted that, but it's not. And we're going to talk about it. All right, let's dive in. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here, and I'm happy to be back. So here's the situation. This was probably about a month ago that this started, and I won't say it was just a month ago. I've been feeling this energy on and off. And when I say this energy of, something's not quite right. Something's not quite hitting. And it's so frustrating because you really can't put a finger on it. It's just like, I don't know. Like, I know what it feels like when I'm on. I know what it feels like when I'm excited about my work and when I'm energized from my work. And then I know when it's not like that, and it just hadn't felt the same. It just, to put it simply, it felt like things were off. And this kind of went to a boiling point, I would say last month. And I rode the wave, because it's also funny, being a woman. It's like, okay, is this me? Or is this something outside of me? Is this me, or is this something that I'm doing? Like, is this something internal with me, or is this an action that I'm doing? Like, what is it? There's so many options and opportunities of things that it could be when things feel off in your life. And I was so distracted. That was another thing. I was so distracted. It felt like I was almost in a prison. That's what it felt like. And I say that because, Chris also works from home. And he would like, he works upstairs, I work downstairs. So when he comes downstairs to get food or something, he has to pass by my office and we'll do little check-ins with each other. And he would walk by my office and be like, hey, how are things going? And I would just be like, oh, I don't know. And I would always be scrolling on my phone, just like completely numbing out. I was like, I have so many things that I should be doing. And I can't motivate myself or lead myself enough to do them. Every time I would get started with something, I would stop, I would get distracted. And then next thing you know, hours have gone by and I've wasted yet another day, or what feels like I've wasted another day, not doing the things that I know that I need to be doing. And then I would go to record a podcast, right? So I did not intend on taking a couple of weeks off the podcast at all, but I would come up to record and I had some ideas and I would sit down. And I've said this before, I've made this comparison before when I feel this way, because this is not the first time I've been in a season like this. But it just feels like, I think the best way that I can describe it is it feels like walking through mud. It's just like, why does this feel so taxing and exhausting? It shouldn't feel like this. It shouldn't feel like this, but it does. Why? Right? So I would go to record a podcast and there would be zero flow. I was overthinking every word that came out of my mouth. I was getting so frustrated with myself. And then my computer said I was out of storage for like the 18th time, even though I've deleted literally everything on my computer. And it was just like, I'm done. And that was it. I was like, you know what? I'm not recording right now. And then right now turned into a week, turned into 2 or 3 weeks, or however long it was. And at first I really beat myself up over that decision because I love this podcast. I love you. I love pouring into you. This is everything to me. This is, when I think of my career, I think of my podcast. I love coaching, but to serve and at scale is, of course, the ultimate goal. So to take any time off just doesn't sit right with me. And I really beat myself up. And then I would go to record again or, come up with a couple of ideas. And I had nothing of value to say to you. And I've said this before, not too long ago. If I feel that way, if I feel like I have nothing of value to say to you, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to do it. Right? Our time is our most prized possession. It is our most sacred commodity. If you see I have an episode live, I hope you know it is because I believe in what it is that I'm talking about. And I'm not hitting record just to hit a metric. And this is one of those situations that I was not going to hit record just to hit another metric. I refuse. So anyway, that explains the hiatus. And this got to a point where I don't know where Chris was, but we were texting. I remember we were texting and he was checking in on me. He was like, how are things going? And I was like, I'm not good. I'm not good. I don't know what's wrong. I can't tell you what's wrong, but I feel very low. Like at this point, I was feeling depressed by like kind of the end of it. And another thing that was interesting about this too is normally I'm like, okay, am I about to start my period? Like what's happening internally, right? Because there's sometimes that PMDD can sneak up on you and you're like, oh, okay. We get it. This was like peak energy, like ovulation time. And I was low. And I was like, something's off. I know myself enough to know I shouldn't be feeling this way. This is not normal for me. I'm not feeling good. Just everything like low energy. I was so tired. I was exhausted. Like I couldn't, to find the energy to work out, like I would force myself to, and I was like, and I just, everything was low. That's how I was feeling. I was like, I don't know what the deal is, but it's freaking me out. Truly, it's freaking me out. So I guess a few days later, I had gotten up and we had, pretty standard weekend. And, I was kind of, and by the way, it's not like every day I'm like, walking around like Eeyore, and I wasn't like actually depressed. I don't use that word lightly, but I was feeling depressed, right? So like the next day would be a little better, but I didn't feel me. And then a few days later, I got up and it was a Monday. And I got up and I was sitting on the porch with Chris and I was like, I have to do something. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I cannot have another week like I had last week and the week before that and the week before that. Like this does not work for me. I don't know really what's wrong, but I have an inkling that, well, not an inkling. I know for sure one of the things that is wrong is I'm not doing the things that I know that I need to be doing. I'm doing things-ish, right? Like I'm getting some workouts in. I'm eating okay. I'm pouring into myself a little bit. But I also noticed that I had dipped back into some really negative habits as well. I'd really dropped my standards for certain things, right? Like I was staying up way too late. I was waking up early, right? I wasn't prioritizing my sleep. So I wasn't really prioritizing my wellness. I was eating a bunch of junk that I don't normally eat, and that tends to really affect me. I was drinking a little bit more, just, summer fun type stuff. But then that rolls into the next day and then, it just kind of ripples negatively into other areas. And another big thing that I knew that I was doing that was not serving me is I had gone completely out of control with social media. And I don't think I have an addictive personality. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe depending on what the thing is. But when it comes to social media, addictive personality aside, if you're watching the video, I'm holding my phone right now. This is heroin. This is crack. Okay, that's how addictive this is. Not just our phone, but social media is. I don't need to tell you that. We already know how addictive these devices are. And this is why I've deleted TikTok now twice. I deleted it, I think around 2021 because I downloaded it in 2020 like the rest of the world. Had to delete it in 2021 because I was like, I'm wasting too much time here. And then I re-downloaded it again at some point and I deleted it again. It's been a really, really long time. But there's some things, I don't know why, I can't handle myself. I completely go off the rails. And I had gone off the rails again, but with regular apps like scrolling Instagram and, whatever I could get my hands on, like a freaking junkie. And the toll that took on me, which I didn't realize at the time, and I realize it now, and I'll tell you why in just a second. I realize now because I feel different now, and I feel like I'm out of the prison now because of some changes that I've made, all right? So anyway, I knew that I dropped the standard in my life. I knew that I'd let my previous boundaries begin to blur. I just got lax. Call it summer fun, call it whatever. But I'd gone completely lax and rogue. And I was talking to Chris and I was like, I have to make a change. I cannot do this anymore. I have to lock it up. And we were talking, and I'll tell you what I decided to do in just a second, but I do want to share with you one breakthrough that I had before I get to that, because this is really, I think this is important. And I don't think everybody is going to relate to this. I know not everybody will, but I do think some of you will relate to this, which is why I want to share it. One of the reasons why I realize I end up going rogue and kind of backsliding a bit on the things that I know are good for me or things I know that are bad for me is because I used to think that like we all could kind of live life similarly, in that, I would see people who have such a good balance, or it seems like they have such a good balance in their life, right? Where they can like go out and have fun and drink on the weekends, or have like a couple of cocktails in the evening, or scroll social media when they want to, but then also like be a boss in their businesses, or, travel a lot and stay up late and have fun, but also be a good mom and all of these things. I don't know. I'm probably not giving really, really good examples, but my point is, and I don't know where I get this idea from. I don't know. I just kind of like pay attention to other people, and it just seems like they can kind of do it all in terms of how could I describe this? High standards in some areas and lower standards in others, maybe is the way to describe it. So then I try and do that, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to lock it up during the day, but then at night, that's my time to chill. And that's my time to like watch my shows and maybe stay up a little later. And I'm going to lock it up during the week. And then on the weekend, I'm going to have fun and I'm going to cut loose, and I'm going to partake in the shots and the alcohol and not work out, and just like take it easy and relax, and then like pick it back up on Monday. Or I'm trying to think of another example, but like, you get what I'm saying? Like this stark duality. There are people out there who master both and are great. So many people. So I would see that and be like, yes, I want to do that too. That's exactly how I want to do. Work hard, play hard, right? That's what I want to do. And at the, young age of 38, I'm having this epiphany that I can't do that. The way that my mind is set up and my personality is set up, it does not work with me. It doesn't. And I don't know why, but the only way that I can describe it from how I understand it now is I have this thing in me. It's like that all or nothing thing. And I've always been this way. So listen, and if you relate to this, then this might be important for you too. I've always been an all or nothing person. Always. It is very hard for me to straddle the line in a lot of different things. Like literally my podcast is called All In with Allie. Okay. There's a reason why. But like, in relationships, it's so hard for me just to be like casual friends with somebody. I'm either your fucking sister or we are strangers, right? Like, in business relationships and clients, I'm either your year-long mentor or nothing. In romantic relationships, same thing. I was never the one who could casually date, ever. And if I ever felt like I was not everything to you, you're nothing to me. After like 5 years of feeling that the things that I would tolerate a little too much, but in my mind, you're nothing to me. And same thing in business, right? Like I cannot half-ass do something. It's my whole ass is in it or my whole ass is out of it. And I'm just finally equating and correlating, oh, okay, well, that's probably true. And how I work best in other areas of my life, like wellness, like, business and personal balance dynamics, I hope this is making sense. I really am just pouring my heart out to you and hoping that this lands with somebody, because in my mind it makes sense, but to some people it just, maybe it won't. But I envy the people who it doesn't make sense to. I envy, like, if you're one of those people who's like, what a loser, get it together. Why are you being so hard on yourself? And I wish I knew. And it's not on purpose. And that's another thing, right? I would fight this. I fought this my whole life because it's like, why am I being so hard on myself? Why can't I just be chill and just like kind of do this and kind of do this over here and also like be great? I can't. It doesn't work. It never works for me. And I just realized that, like, unfortunately, I have to kind of work. I'm the type of person, like, I don't know if I just have to work harder than other people. I don't say that as like, I say that like not as a good thing, like not something that I'm proud of. But this is just how my personality is set up. Okay? So I had this breakthrough where it's like, okay, I'm an all or nothing girly. And I'm trying to be, and I'm sitting here like trying to half-ass in these different areas. And I'm wondering why that's not sitting right in my soul. Like, of course it's not. That's the way that my mind is set up. It does not compute. So I need to go back all in and lock it up. I have to lock it up. And I don't know what this looks like in terms of fun. And it's not that I'm not going to have fun. I'll tell you what I'm doing here in just a bit. There is balance to it, right? I'm not a robot. I'm not a machine. But the way that I'm almost thinking of this is like, I think what I might have to do is lock in for the next year or two until I get this business to where I want it to go, because we're not there yet. And that is right underneath the importance of my family is the importance of my business goals, right? There's my family and my business. That's everything to me. So what I'm thinking this might look like, and this is me just riffing, I could be totally wrong and I could change this in a couple of months. But it might look like, again, I have to completely just go all in, lock the hell in for the next year or two, and then take seasons off or something like that, where I can like really unplug and relax and live and just be a lot more compartmentalized in seasons versus trying to blur different seasons together. I don't know. I'm wondering if that might be it. So here's what I'm doing. And this is what I said to Chris. I was like, I need a new routine. The way that I was doing my routine before, I wasn't holding myself accountable. It was a situation where it was like, depending on when I woke up, I might go to the gym. Depending on when I wake up, if I have time, I'll do my prayer and my mindfulness. Depending on that, it was all dictated on how I was feeling, right? There was no self-leadership. I stopped really leading myself and kind of living in a more flowy way, which it just in this season, it does not work for me because I feel like I'm a bag in the wind just flowing around. And in my mind, that is the worst thing that I could be doing. The worst thing. So anyway, told him I need to get I need to, first of all, like reassess my standards. I need some serious boundaries. I need to go back to my standards, and I need a plan of action that I am held to and accountable for every single day. Not just for my mind and my well-being, but also in my business. I want this plan that I don't really have to think about, that I create a habit around that serves my greatest goals, my most important goals, which is serving my family, being the best mom and wife that I can be, and also leading this business in the direction that I want it to go, and actually serving you at the highest level and serving my clients at the highest level. So what we came up with, I was like, I think like I want it to be like a 75-day hard situation, but not 75 hard. Because I had done that before. I've done 75 hard. It's way too fitness based for me, that those things like don't matter to me. I don't need to be working out 2 times a day. I don't need to be drinking a gallon of water a day. I don't, but something similar. Because the concept makes sense, right? Create a level of standards for yourself and hold yourself accountable for 75 days, which is over the time required to create these serious habits in your mind with these standards. So I sat there, and with Chris, we made a list. I said, okay, I want some for like my mindset, because obviously my mindset is struggling and I need some help there. So I need to reconnect to God every single day. I need to practice around that. I need to get back to rewiring my subconscious, because the way that I'm talking to myself is trash and, truly my own worst enemy. So we need to do some subconscious work. I want to have a plan to assess my day and to like really track what I'm doing and how I'm feeling, to make sure that what I'm doing is actually working for me and I'm not just doing it blindly to check a box. I need to keep my energy up. Part of, the catalyst for my goals, what's going to help me be the best wife and mom and also lead this business, is I need a lot of freaking energy, and I need to feel my best, because if I don't feel my best, or if my mind is whack, we see where this takes me. So I need to be really respecting and nurturing my body at the highest level so that I feel my best, because when I feel my best, I do my best. So we need some standards around diet and movement. And then I need some standards around my business, because I've gotten really lazy with a few standards there as well, like with emails, podcasting, content, selling. Again, it had turned into this, if I have time, that'd be great. If I don't, that'd be great, which doesn't work. It doesn't fly with me. So I created these lists, and I said, okay. And I created this note in my phone, and I decided, okay, I'm going to start tracking this. And you can make, on the note app in your phone, you can make it a checklist, which is really fun, because you literally can check these off. And the way that I did this was I have like daily standards, and then I have weekly standards. And I did pull some from 75 hard, because some of them are really good. So my daily list is first thing in the morning, prayer, subconscious exercise, like some sort of guided meditation, hypnosis, something aligned to what it is that how I want to feel and where I'm going. 10 pages of personal development at some point during the day. For me, not a lot of junk and processed stuff. I know what that means for me. I don't need to be I don't need to like be super specific on the diet that I follow. I know I need to be eating way more whole foods and less of the crap. I've been eating way too much crap lately, and it is so insane. If you have never tested this for yourself, I want you to challenge yourself for 1 week, just 1 week, even just 5 days, Monday through Friday. Challenge yourself to only eat whole foods for the whole week. No processed anything. you are going to blow your mind how different you feel. And I'll do this, like sometimes I'll do this and then I'll kind of fall off track. And the difference in your body is scary, quite frankly, truly. And it's so insane to me to think that like most of America is walking around feeling this way and completely oblivious or just surrendered to it. Not me. Can't do it. So anyway, I have standards around food. My movement standard is working out 5 days a week and then daily movement on the other 2 days, at least 30 minutes. Here's the biggie. And then also creatine every day, no alcohol for 75 days, which I feel so good about. And then the biggie, the big one that has set me free, has completely set me free from this prison that I was in, is no social media before 9 a.m. or after 8 p.m. And then during the day, in the time from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. during the day, I use the Opal app, which I've talked about before. It's a social media blocking app. It's incredible. If you've never used it, go download it. It's beautiful. It's so well done. But I block my apps during the day, and you can unlock it if you absolutely need to, but I can't unlock it past 15 minutes. So if I need like a little break while I eat or something, just to like my little proverbial cigarette break, I can do that, but only 15 minutes at a time unless I'm working. Now, if I'm working on something like I'm posting a reel or something like that, that's different. But those parameters around social media, when I tell you, so by the way, as I record this, I'm on week 3 of following this protocol for myself. My screen time was down. I can't remember. I think it was the first week doing this. I think it was down 65%. That's how much screen time was saved. Last week is a little bit higher because I created more content, but I feel like I got my life back. And I'm not saying that to be dramatic. I'm not. I mean that in full sincerity. I feel like I got my life back. These phones, they are a gift, truly. They're the best tools that we have. But just like anything good, it could still kill you, right? Like water is also really good for you unless you take too much of it, and then it can kill you. Like phones, same thing. And unfortunately, they're so addicting. They're so easy to abuse. And I'm not addicted to anything else other than, I don't know, maybe bullshit like this, where like I can't allow myself to relax really, but I am addicted to my phone. Like that's the biggie for me. And holding myself and putting these boundaries on my screen time, and especially social media, in such a short period of time, it felt like a weight has been lifted off of my chest. And I'm talking like week 1. I'm talking like day 2. I felt so much different. And I'm wondering if most of my issue, I know it was a culmination of a lot of things, but I felt probably the most different from that. And I'm wondering if it's because I had just gotten so out of control with my usage and my scrolling, and it just gone completely unconscious and losing my life to this thing. I've been more present with my children. Another thing, okay, so I covered my weekly list, right? So that's my weekly. No, excuse me, that's my daily. I also have my weekly list, okay? One of the things on my weekly list is dinner together as a family, because we also got into a really bad habit of, we will make the boys food first because a lot of times they'll eat something different than me and Chris. So we'll make their stuff first, and then he and I will literally like eat standing up at the island, or we'll put the kids down, we'll put the kids to bed, and then we'll sit in front of the TV and eat and not speak. And when we go out to dinner together as a family, because my children don't know how to hold conversation. Now, Rhett's 2, so Rhett's different, but Cruz is 7. And we got into such a bad habit of handing them both our phones because Chris and I just wanted some time to be able to have adult conversation. And it's like, okay, I forgive myself for that, but also I can raise my children to know how to sit at a dinner table and have conversation with humans. And I just realized, how would they ever know to do that when we're not doing that? So one of the biggies that has been so fun and has made a huge impact in such a short period of time has been eating together as a family. So we'll cook a little bit earlier, and we'll all sit down at the actual table, no devices. We put on Pandora Spanish guitar music, which is my favorite channel. Sorry, I had to stop that recording and go do something and come back. So I apologize for the abrupt change, but I didn't want to just try and pick up right where we left off because I know like the energy of my voice is going to be different. It's going to sound weird. So I'm back and I know where I left off. I left off where I was saying that we would sit down, we would eat, we would have conversation as a family. And my point in saying this was another example where very quickly, comically quickly, we saw a positive result from this. The boys acclimated so fast. And by dinner 2, we're enjoying ourselves. We're actually having conversation. Chris and I, me and Cruz, Chris and Cruz, all of us, even Rhett is chiming in, and we're laughing and we're enjoying each other's company. And it's as if I've had this lock on me, on my energy, on my family. And there's been a key there the whole time. And all I had to do was just twist the key and unlock it. That simple. Like some of these things that I am doing, these new standards, some of them not so fast for sure. You know, there's definitely a long game here. The bigger picture is long game. But some of these, the results has shifted how I feel, not only internally, but also what I'm experiencing externally so fast. It is comical. It's comical. It's like, what are we doing here? And this is why ultimately, and I'll go back and I'll give you some more of my standards in just a second. But ultimately, after I made this for myself and I started doing it, my next thought, of course, was I have to make this available for my clients. Like, this is so on par with what we're doing anyway, especially X Mastermind. This is like literally the point of X Mastermind is holding ourselves to a higher caliber, a higher standard. You know, so what I decided to do was create this guide because I realized, wow, you know, just the way of thinking and separating these between daily and weekly, game changer, having these 3 separate categories for the whole challenge itself, mind, body, business, game changer. Also, another thing that I put in the guide, and spoiler, I put the link in the show notes for you if you want to check in on this and get it for yourself. It's free. But one of the things that I put in the guide is, and this is a big, big difference between my version of the challenge and 75 Hard, is 75 Hard is all about perfection, right? If you screw up, whether it's day 2 or day 62 or 72, what do you have to do? You have to start all over again, right? It's this very rigid, unrealistic, inhuman, dare I say, standard. It's a standard, but I believe it's unrealistic. And I don't actually think it's necessary or helpful or productive, actually. Because I think what it does is, again, it's absolutely unrealistic. And I understand the thought process. I've read the manifesto, okay? I understand the why behind it. I just don't think it's necessary to to get a positive result, which is the point, to create new habits, which is the point. So anyway, the way I do mine and what I put in the guide is this is not about perfectionism. Okay. You might mess up and miss a couple standards a day or two. You probably will, because you're human, because you're running a business and that's hard, because you're a human and that's hard, because maybe you're a mom and that's hard, because maybe you're whatever. Like we're all going to have our excuses. And it's not that we let the excuses win. It's that we learn to be flexible and we learn to continue to lead ourselves past the excuses and get back on track when we fall off track. Nothing's going to be perfect, nor does it need to be. So the way that I do this challenge for me and the way that I set this up is if I fall off track, a big key of this for myself is I have to dig into why. What went wrong? What caused me to go off track? Was this straight up self-sabotage? Was it just a bad day? Did I forget? Was it something else that was the catalyst for me to fall off track? How can I now assess that? Is the standard at a level that it doesn't need to be, that's unrealistic for the season of life that I'm in? That can happen as well. Like one of the things that I put on here, I put on here for my dietary portion, right? Because it's mind body business. So part of the business is, like I said, I'm cleaning up my diet. And initially what I put on here is like no bread or processed sweets, right? I was like, no bread. But then I'm like, why though? Like for me, I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. I'm not trying to get down to, 0% body fat. I'm not trying to deprive myself. And I'm also not trying to be miserable over here too. Like it's enough that I'm cutting out my weekend cocktails. All right. So if I want to indulge in a little bit of chocolate here and there, or if I want to indulge in a sandwich, I'm going to do that. So I got a couple of days in and I refined it a bit. But the difference here is, because that sounds like, oh, well, you're not upholding that standard at all. The difference is that I'm fully conscious about it. I'm fully conscious. There's a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And the road and the path that I'm on is still leading me ultimately where I'm wanting to go. At the end of the 75 days, the goal for myself is to come back to myself, to become a higher version of me. She's awake, she's conscious, she feels good, she's at a higher frequency, she's focused, she is prioritizing the areas of her life that are most important to her, and she is making moves on the things that are actually going to get her to where she wants to go. She's making the appropriate moves, right? That's the whole point of this. That to me is what being fully alive is all about. So a few more of the standards that I put on mine. So I went through some of the daily, I went through all the daily, and then some of the weekly. I want to do weekly progress pictures because I am being super consistent with my workouts. That's key for me. That's very key in how I feel about myself and my confidence. And that feels good. So I'm doing that. And then this is where all my business standards are, because a lot of the business standards aren't a daily thing. It's more of a weekly consistency thing. So sending an email, at least one email out every single week, a podcast, selling a specific offer every single week. I have money goals for the next 3 months. And what else is on here that I haven't covered? That's it. That's for the weekly goals. And every single day I check these off. And like I said, it's week 3. And now I don't even have to look at the list. It's already, a lot of these things are already becoming a habit. I'm already scheduling in the gym and it's a non-negotiable. It's just, I don't even think about it. I'm already taking the creatine and I don't even have to think about it. I'm already getting up and I'm setting an alarm And the first thing on the to-do list is the subconscious work and the prayer. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even think about I do think about getting on social media still, especially in the morning, because I used to do that with my coffee. That used to feel really fun. Now I've replaced it with this is fun, something that I'm doing, and this is part of my subconscious work. I do love to scroll while I'm drinking my coffee. It feels so good, right? It's just so nice. You're waking up, you're getting that caffeine in, you're relaxing if you have the opportunity to do so, and it's just nice to mindlessly scroll sometimes. So what I've replaced this with, instead of social media, which we know how this goes, it's just not good for me, I scroll Pinterest. And my Pinterest algorithm is chef's kiss, like exponential dreams for me, right? Like everything I scroll, it's like the dream house, the dream bod, the dream outfits, the dream bags, the dream vacations. It's like everything. So it's one scrollable vision board. So I put on 528HC, and I'll put that in the show notes as well. That's my favorite. I guess, I don't know if it's binaural beat. I don't know, but it's a hertz, and it supposedly opens your heart chakra, and it's healing, and it's all the things. And I've been listening to it for years. I create content while I listen to this, and I love to visualize while I listen to this. And I'll put that on, and I will sip my coffee, and I will scroll all of, my favorite things. And I'll just look, and I'll feel as if this is my life. And like I'm window shopping the things that are coming my way and the accomplishments and all of the things. And I'll search specific things like private jet stuff, accepting big awards for specific things. Again, certain vacations, experiences, wardrobe, my dream closet, our dream home, all the things. And that's part of my mindset work in the mornings too. So that's really nice. And it's a nice switch up and trade off for the social medias. But anyway, all of that to say, I had this breakthrough where I realized, I had the breakthrough where I was like, okay, I'm an all or nothing person. That's just like a personality defect of mine. Maybe it's a strength, maybe it's a defect. Who knows? It's probably, who you talk to. So there's that. But another breakthrough that I had is around the perfectionism of it all. And realizing that if we were to like really simplify what we want, right? There's the version of us who makes our dreams come true, who brings to life, our dream business. The reason why you're listening to this podcast. There's a version of us who does it and the version of us who doesn't do it. And we can segment the population also into those two categories. There are the people who go out and do the extraordinary thing, who become the walking examples and the embodiment of the people who go and do the thing that the average person doesn't do. And then there's the average person who doesn't do that, who doesn't pursue, who falls victim to scarcity, to fear, and to a lack of self-leadership, and, refuses to uphold a certain standard, right? The breakthrough that I had was that the extraordinary person who goes and does the thing, what makes them extraordinary is not that they're perfect at doing the thing, right? It's that they've simply mastered the void. Okay? That's all it is. They have mastered the void, and not perfectly. Because I used to think, and I'm so curious, and you can message me, we could talk about this, or put it on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. I'm so curious if you feel the same way. But I used to think the extraordinary people, the examples out there, the people who go and do something incredible, I almost like put them on this standard on this platform or pedestal rather, without even thinking about it, right? Like when you think about it, it's like, wait, of course they're not perfect. Of course they're not superhuman. But I would put them on this pedestal and just assume, oh, well, they uphold the standard perfectly all the time, or mostly perfectly all the time, right? They sell the things out all the time. They post the things all the time. They show up all the time. They take care of themselves all the time, right? They uphold that standard pretty much perfectly. That's what I just kind of unconsciously assumed about these people that I put on this pedestal. And the issue with that is not only is that so far not true, which is where the breakthrough came from, but the issue with that is anytime I would pursue my own extraordinary vision and uphold my own exceptional standards, and I fell off track or got lost a little bit, I immediately thought, I don't have it. I immediately assumed, okay, I'm not exceptional. I'm not extraordinary. I'm not one of them. I'm just an average person. I can't do this. I'm not cut out for this. Right? It's like, unless it's perfect and up here all the time, it's not. And it never will be. And the breakthrough I had is that's not it. That's not it. What separates the average person from the extraordinary person is the void and how one manages and navigates the void. And the void is that space between you declaring your vision and what it is that you want and bringing it to life. That's the void. Most people fall off in the void, right? That's where 99% of people fall off, is in the void, because it doesn't happen fast enough, because they don't uphold the standards, because they're looking for instant gratification, XYZ, you name it. So they don't think that they have what it takes. They self-sabotage, whatever. So they fall off. They revert back to their old selves. And we know the rest of the story. Extraordinary people are not perfect, are not superhuman, fall off all the time, fall off track all the time. But the difference is when they do, they assess. They think, what happened there? Why did I do that? Where did that come from? What belief led to that outcome? Why didn't I do this? Why did I do that? Okay, how can I set myself up for success next time? And then they get back on the freaking horse. And they keep going, and they do not stop imperfectly until they make the thing happen or something better. That's it. It's not about perfectionism. It is about self-leadership no matter what, imperfectly all the time. So, if this lands with you, if you've been feeling like I've been feeling, like several of my clients have been feeling, if you know that you are not respecting your time, your energy, your body, your business, your loved ones in the way that you know you could and should, if you know you are not upholding a level of standard that is a match for the life and business that you know you are worthy and put here to create, go to the show notes and check out 75 Fully Alive. This is the challenge that I created. I'm 3 weeks in as I record this. We'll see where it goes, but it's good. It's good. It just is. I've done enough things of my own, of other people's, to know when I'm onto something, and I'm onto something. So it's been really good for me. It feels like that prison I felt like I was in, that cloud that was hovering over my head, it's gone. I'm not the same person I was a month ago. And I say that not as hyperbole, but literally, if you could plug me into a wall and like check out my numbers or whatever, my energy, I am not the same person, because I'm not the same person. The way I am moving and behaving and thinking and treating myself and everyone in my world is not the same as it was a month ago. So that's that. Thank you for being patient with me as I was dealing with my stuff and just need a little breather. I love this podcast so much. I love you so much. I never, ever take for granted this platform that I've created and started so many years ago. And it's an honor to be here. And it's an honor to be able to share life with you and what I'm learning. So if you've made it this far, thank you. And I will see you here next week. Bye.